Hello everybody, once again from the Gorlitz High Performance Garage channel. This is going to be a follow-up to the Negro Mountain thing that I talked about on the last video. I have my book and I have the story. Here, I'm going to show you the book. Images of America, the National Road in Maryland. Okay. You could probably get this, I don't know, just about anywhere. I can find it everywhere around here. They even have it at the fucking pharmacy up the road here from me. So, yeah. It just talks about the National Road, and it has the story in here. And I'm gonna read it to you. It's story fucking time with history and shit. Yay. Anyway, it says here, there are several versions of the story behind the name Negro Mountain. Most, however, share a common thread involving Thomas Cressup, the pioneer who is credited, along with the Native American god Nemacolin, with cutting the path that was the predecessor to Braddock's Road and National Road. Cressup had a large and imposing African-American servant named Nemesis, just like I fucking told you the other day, who accompanied him on an operation against local Native Americans. Nemesis had a premonition that he would die on this mission. Cressup offered to leave him behind, but Nemesis insisted on remaining with the party. His prediction came true, and he was killed in the fight. Okay? The name Negro Mountain was a means of paying homage to this brave man. In recent times, attempts have been made to address possible sensitivities by changing the name. Opponents, including a prominent local African-American woman, prevailed and the name was retained. In modern times, the peak of the 2,900-foot elevation Foot Mountain has housed commercial enterprises and the fire tower. I don't think the fire tower is still there. I don't believe. But I can show you, like, where we were sitting the other day. There was a gas station, and now it's gone. I get fucking beard hairs in my mouth. Okay, here's where we were sitting at the rest area the other day. This is an old picture of a gas station, service station that was there. And here's the fire tower. And they had signs here on your descent to get down there in lower gear. And here it is, the opposite side that was behind us. This is going down the hill. So, yeah, it's just a short story about this brave man that saved lives, died for. The guy wasn't even considered to be free at the time, and he died for people that were. So it's a pretty good story, and they should make a fucking movie about it, I think. But they never will. But basically, if you think about it, as far as I'm concerned, we're all just men. We're not, Negroes or whites or anything else. We're just men, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, yeah, there's not really anything else in there pertaining to that, but yeah, I'm very bald now. Anyway, let me see, Grantsville. Yeah. They used to, what's this? Many citizens of Grantsville came out in the cold on a cold February day to see a team of Eskimo dogs pass on the National Road through town on the way to Washington, D.C. The Cumberland Times News reported that the team was led by Eli A. Smith, a U.S. mail carrier who wagered $10,000 that he could lead his team 5,500 miles to deliver a letter to President Teddy Roosevelt. Smith left home on November 14th, 1905, and expected to arrive in Washington 15 months later. Wow. On February 20th, 1907, he and his dog team traveled in the snow to Alaska, where they boarded a ship to Seattle and then mushed across the United States. Their sled was equipped with wheels so that they could proceed without snow when necessary. A photograph below. Here shows a photograph below. Oh, they're missing my fucking place. Okay, here we go. Provides an idea of the condition of the pike in town after the weather has taken its toll on the roadbed. This was before it was paved. Both date to the first decade in the 1900s. Above, courtesy of Albert and Angela Fieldstein. Below, courtesy of Maryland State Archives. Leo Beachy photographs. Leo Beachy was the one that did most of these pictures. And, yeah. There's a shit ton of fucking history around here. A lot of these historic places burnt down over the years. Like the Clary'sville Inn down here in Frostburg, like below Frostburg, in a place called Clary'sville. It was the Clary'sville Inn that burnt. And very similar architects built these. And the Castleman Motel were built by the same fucking person, I believe. Which is pretty cool. But what would be more fun is driving to these places. Like, the Colonel, who was it? General Grant's, or General Braddock's camp up there we passed the other day. They have the bridge on here. And, yeah. Which is pretty fucking cool. And there's an old stone house up here, on Hilltop, that I pass. You see it in a couple of my videos. It's a very old, ancient fucking place. If these places could speak, imagine the stories they would have. Because it's just crazy. And my local history around here, this is like where America started, was here. This is where America began, this is where I live. Which, is pretty interesting, I think. But a lot of people don't think it is. They think it's fucking gay and retarded and, See, like Cumberland, Maryland, it's a shithole today. It's a place for lots of drugs and shootings and stabbings, and there's even been some folks. There was even a person that was found that was dead. They found down there, it was in pieces and buried in someone's yard. down there near the last couple of years, which is fucked up. And that's because the prison down in Jessup in Baltimore closed up, and they moved all the inmates up here. And those people that lived down there to be close to their relatives that were in prison, they all moved up here. And so did all the, I mean, there was drugs here before, but not like there is now. There's like fentanyl here, and their meth was always here, and like cocaine and crack, stuff like that. That was always here. Heroin. Now it's like intensified by, 9 million. But Cumberland was originally a place where fur traders and trappers would meet and buy, sell, and trade things. And they did this like in the spring of the year, every year. And, there wasn't a whole lot down there, but there was a fort down there, Fort Cumberland, and it's gone now. This doesn't exist. But George Washington had his headquarters there at Fort Cumberland. And plus, he used the National Road to come from that area down. And so did General Braddock, which we have a couple things named after Braddock around here. Braddock Road is one that's down and goes through from the Vale down to Cumberland. But like at the Dixie Tavern, like I was telling you guys the other day, they said that George Washington supposedly stopped there and actually had a room for the night. And then they went across Little Crossings, which is just up the road. There's a big dip in the road. Railroad tracks used to run across there for the Jennings Brothers Railroad train. Coal train could pick up coal and take it to Ohio. It was like linked clear to Baltimore, this railroad line. Now it's all gone. I'm pretty sure some locals there around the Jennings area, and real close to Grantsville, they say that there are still iron rails on the ground in the woods next to the Castleman River that the old steam engine drove on. Now, my great-grandfather that lived in Jennings, he was a Bill Meyer. He serviced the Jennings Brothers locomotive. And he's even built trains, from what I hear from my mother. This man has built a train or so. And I'm pretty sure she said when she was a kid that the Jennings Brothers steam engine sat in Jennings on what they call Railroad Street, which is a dirt road now. Sat there until they scrapped it back when she was a child, which would be like the 1950s. And they still ran steam engines back then a good bit. A lot of those were freight haulers, And, yeah, so that's how that town got its name, Jennings. It was from the Jennings Brothers coal. They mined coal in that place and everything else. So, yeah, lots of history around here. It's crazy the amount of history that's here. It's very, very crazy. I might do a little video series on that, run around and read the plaques, stuff like that. Sometimes they have them worded like, like they're fucking lawyers or some shit that wrote this stuff. Some of the words aren't calculating in my small little walnut fucking brain I have. So, you gotta kind of read it and stare at the word, try to sign it out. And I can't spell word the fuck either, so that don't help me. So anyway, if you want this book, look it up. I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere. But like I said, it's everywhere around here. All our local bookstores have these Images of America books. I used to hang out with a girl that has the one on Mount Savage. That's where I had that one car show. Or I had a car show there twice, 2 years in a row. And I will go to the third one as well. Unfortunately, I did get word, or I saw a post on Facebook that the Super Cruise in Cumberland will no longer be with us at all. They used to have it twice to summer, at the beginning of summer, which was Memorial Weekend, and then Labor Day weekend was the last one. No more. No longer going to be a thing. I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck happened or who spoiled it. I don't know if the car club is just not wanting to put it on. I forget who puts it on. I'm not real sure. But they had pretty good prizes. I mean, you could win I know a guy that won it was $700 or $800 for first prize and judging the cars that were there. But as far as I know, the Frostburg Cruise is still going to be going on. Now, hopefully it turns out this year and it isn't a fucking washout like it was last year. Now, I noticed though the last time I went to the Super Cruise in Cumberland, there wasn't a lot of cars there. It was kind of dying down a bit. But I know over the years things have been happening, like people stole shit out of people's cars. Somebody took a ketchup bottle and squeezed ketchup throughout somebody's car interior down there. Somebody keyed somebody's old car down there. One time they had an accident. Somebody was crossing traffic and got hit. It's a 4-lane highway there, right in front of where you have it. There's 2 going south and 2 going north, and somebody was crossing to go north, or just to cut across to go into Burger King, and they got nailed in the fucking door. And then somebody else ran in the median one time, wrecked their car. It was fucking kids fucking around with their, Fast and Furious wannabe stuff. They had their little Integra or whatever, and mommy's fucking, Honda Civic, let's race. I'm Paul Walker, let's race, I used to say mean shit to people on there. When my channel first came about, it was called it was a joke, is what my channel was. It was a big bunch of shit. I didn't take it seriously till after it was up for a year. And then I changed the name to Garlet's High Performance Garage. It was called Imports Are Gay Riced Fagmobiles, is what it was called. And I still have that sign in on some things. And it's funny because they would have to say the name. The import lovers would have to say that name. And that would annoy people. And I'd, throw mom jokes at them and shit like that, because they would insult my videos. And if you look into my really old videos, like the first year, I have one called Rice Slayer. I have another one called The Back Bumper Is All You Ricers Are Going to See. Shit like that. The Rice Slayer one got a lot of views, and that's what I was looking for. I did that to see how many views I could get, and it was all these trolls viewed it. They were so mad. They were so mad at me. It was quite hilarious. And I was like, man, I am getting some views on this bullshit. I've had some whoppers on there. I've had some people tell me that my car is a piece of fucking shit and it's a boat and it won't corner. And it's like, I don't really care if it can corner or not. I just like the car. I like to drive it around. And somebody told me I was an old fat fuck, and my car had orange peel on it, and it does. Yeah, it does, and I don't care. It does have orange peel. If you call me out on it, I'm like, yeah, it does. I can see something right now on it. It does. Am I going to remove it? No, because I don't give a fuck. I'm just surprised that it turned out like it did, because I am not a painter. I am not a body man. I took a stab at this car and made it what it is. It's got wavy sheet metal because the way I cut things out, the way I put things in, it's all wrong. I overlapped things. I didn't join them together, the surfaces together. I overlapped everything because it was just easier and it was quicker that way, and that's why I did it. But it took me a long time to finish it because what happened was I found Pussy, is what happened. Pussy came along and, kind of put the old Chevelle on the back burner for quite a few many years. And then, I ended up having kids, and kids really slow the progress of old car stuff down. Because, you gotta take care of, little lives first. You gotta provide for everybody else first before you can provide for your hobby. And there wasn't a lot of money to go around. Because, I've been a poor motherfucker all my life, and really poor all my adult life. Really, really poor. I'm just lucky I have what I got. Some things were given to me, yes, like the garage. That was a gift from my dad. Although it's not the greatest place, I call it home. It's still my garage. It is falling down there in the back. I'll try to keep it from falling down as much as I can. Try to take care of the place a little bit. It needs painted. It needs some doors put on it. I've been trying to cut the fucking trees that keep growing up around the bastard. Because them old tree roots, they like to push walls and stuff in on things. And I don't want to come over here one day and a wall be falling the fuck in, because then I'll be screwed. Because I don't have any insurance on this fucking place. So anyway, and the trailer I live in, I had to buy. It was my grandma's. I had to buy that. And I had to buy some property because she got dementia and she could not function. It led into Alzheimer's and she died. It took her life. And us kids, we all had to get together when we put her in a nursing home, because she couldn't function. She couldn't be out on her own because she would go places and then forget how to get home. So, and then she revert back to ways that she was when she was a kid. And I told some people, I'm like, I'm going to be surprised if I don't see her out there in Gilmore standing around hollering for her mom, which is fucking sad. But that's where she grew up, was a little place called Gilmore, which is next to Lonacone down here. That's where she grew up. And it's funny because she told me one time down there, she's big, put on like she was this big God-fearing woman and went to church. She went religiously every Sunday and never missed it. And, but she felt it necessary to call people dumb bitches when she was mad at them and call people stooges, stuff like that. She would watch something on TV and she would laugh and then she would say, stupid. Yeah. Quite interesting to hear her tell me that. Because when you get that old and you get out of your mind, well, she wasn't that old, but when you kind of get out of your mind with Alzheimer's, your youth comes back to you, and it's kind of like truth serum. She was saying how she wanted a beer. She had to have a beer. I gotta have a beer. I sure am thirsty. I sure like to have me a beer right now. She would always say, yuck, it's stinking beer. That just tastes like crap. Stinking beer. Dirty stuff. I don't want that. Yeah, it's funny. Until we saw her out here on the ladder cleaning her fucking windows one day, and she was cussing him. You dirty son of a bitch and bastard. I'll break you, you son of a bitch. Whoa, Grandma, what are you doing? What are you doing out here? Oh my God, she used to get fucking pissed. But anyhow, shit happens. People get old, people die. Eventually, we'll all take the dirt nap. But anyhow, everybody, there's my fucking National Road shit. A lot of historical fucking things around here to learn about. There's so much stuff around here, and there's so much stuff in the neighboring counties, that you're still able to find and look at. Like down here in Mount Savage, for instance, they say that Mount Savage has the very first iron railroad tracks in the country. And I believe them. And they're still down there, some of them. Now, they have, in the woods, I don't know how many there is. I know of maybe 2 down there in the woods. Old iron furnaces where they made these rails are still down there. They're all grown up. There's trees growing up through them. But nevertheless, they're still there, and you can still tell what they are. But a lot of it's gone and vandalized and stuff like that. But they did save one out in Lonoconie. I might have to go there and check it out and maybe take a video. And we'll see what it has to say. So I have another great grandfather that lived in Gilmore out there close to Lonoconie, and he was a blacksmith or a locksmith. One of the two. I can't remember. But he was a coal miner, and he worked for Buffalo Coal, and that was what he did. I think he was a locksmith. I'm pretty sure that's what he was. I'm not real sure. I don't remember, but he died of black lung in the 1970s, like the late 70s, before I was born. He died. I never got to meet him. Very quiet, skinny guy. Let me see. My dad's dad, he was a coal miner too. He worked for Buffalo Coal as well. He worked for them. And he also worked for Potomac Edison. He hauled fly ash out of the power plants. Plus, he helped build the power plant at Mount Storm, West Virginia, back in the 70s. He helped with that. What the fuck else? My mom's dad, he was a farmer and drove a school bus. That's what he did. But he lived in Jennings up there and in the old coal town of Jennings. So everything's related to coal around here. We build America on coal, and all these stupid politicians want to try and take it away from us. But that's just to weaken us, to take away our heritage, plus take away our freedoms and our rights and all this other bullshit. But I'm not going to get into that. There ain't enough time in the fucking day for me to rattle on about that shit. But everybody, car show season's coming up. I'm going to do a history lesson here and there. Yeah. Like, we're going to visit the plantation down here. There isn't a lot of it left. There's a sign company down here called Kenny Signs down here in Frostburg. They own the barn that was part of the plantation. The slave house is still standing, but the main house is the only thing that's left there is the foundation. It fell down. It just deteriorated and fell down. It was like a Victorian house with a mansard roof on it, and it had a lot of windows in it. A shit ton of windows. There's a picture of it in this fucking book. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But yeah, it was the Thomas family farm. If I can find it. Because it's along the National Road here. Let's see if I can find it quick. Okay, we're in Grantsville. Route 40, Great Stone Arch Bridge, which we'll go see. That's it. That too. That's still alive and well here. Let's see, Turner's Dairy, what I was telling you about the other day. Big Savage. Here we go. Here we go. Let me see. No, there's not the picture of it. Where's the goddamn picture of it? It might be in my Frostburg book. Maybe. Lover's Leap in Cumberland. I'm not going to show you that because I don't want to fucking go there. That's one high-ass motherfucker. We're not going to go see that shit. There's a hotel in Flintstone. That one down there that's really fucking old. Looks like they built it too. From the same guys that built the Clairysville Inn. Oh, son of a bitch. We're in Clear Spring now. Oh, here's that old bridge. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. No, that's not it. Where the fuck are you? It's in my other book. I have to show it sometime. When we go down there to the old plantation, I will show you what the fuck I'm talking about. Middletown. Jesus Christ, that's in Frederick. Frederick is another place you can go learn a lot of local history. They actually have buildings down there where they kept slaves, and there's shackles on the walls still in these buildings down there. Yes, very, very educational and awful local history. Very violent local history. I don't believe it's here. Shit. But yeah, there was another name for the road. It was called the Cumberland Road, yes. Cumberland Road. ROAD. Let me see. It says, after descending Little Savage Mountain, travelers passed the farm once owned by Maryland's first governor, Thomas Johnson. Johnson purchased parcels from the state of Maryland, Revolutionary War soldiers and military lots and others. While he never lived at the farm, he passed it on to family members when he died in 1819. It remained in the Johnson family until well into the 20th century, as can be seen in this photograph of the National Road passed between the Johnson home and farm buildings, courtesy of Virginia Williams Kelly. Yeah. You can't, the picture's kind of shitty, but, yeah, that's the plantation I'm talking about. There's a sign down there. There's a plaque down there that gives a little bit more information, but yeah. He was Maryland's first governor. I thought he was a senator. Maryland's first governor. He's buried down there in Annapolis, this Thomas Johnson. But, yeah. Actually, I have a relative that owns the property down there. They own the property. They own the house. They rented out the house for a long time to other people. And speaking of my grandma, my dad's mom, she had an accident down there. She ass-ended somebody or something. And, yeah, she ass-ended somebody. Had to go into that house to use their telephone. And my dad was wasn't that old back then, I don't think. I think he said that they had one hell of a staircase that came down from the upstairs. It was like a wraparound type staircase. I don't know what kind of wood that place was made out of, but of course you'll never know now because it's all gone. So the only thing that's left there is just the foundation kind of sticking up out of the ground. I have some pictures of it myself. I saved them in my phone or in my little archives. It was a shame to see it fall down because the house had been there, since forever. And, it was a piece of history and they never took care of it. After they stopped renting it out, nobody wanted to live in it, apparently. I don't know why. And it had a kitchen built behind it. It was like built right behind. They ripped it down too. But that was back in the day where the kitchen was a separate building from the house. And they would prepare food and walk it across to the house and serve it in the dining room. And that's how that house was. Now, it did have plumbing and stuff like that. Somebody added that later. It had electric, telephones, shit like that. It had a shit ton of windows. They eventually boarded the windows up. I remember one time when I was a kid, they were putting a roof on it. They did put a roof on the place to kind of preserve it. And then, that was back when I was a kid. And then they never touched it, fucked with it since. I think people lived in it in the late 70s, last or maybe early 80s. And then it wasn't lived in anymore after that. And it was a shame to see something like that, historical significance, be, just to let rot and fall down. But, people own that stuff and they don't want to fuck with it. Now, if each generation of that family would have lived in it, it would have been different. But, not everybody thinks that way. Not everybody thinks like I do. But I would have wanted to keep that house in the family for as long as possible. And, let generations of my family live in it. That's what it would be. And it would still be standing. But it's not any longer. So, yeah, we'll go down there. We'll check that out sometime. All right, everybody. I'm wasting time. I have to... I worked a 12-hour day today, which was last minute fucking decision. I hate that shit. And tomorrow, I don't know how long I'm going to work. You never fucking know. And Friday is going to be a killer because I have to show up there at 3 a.m. And we have to be in Oakland at 4 a.m. and redo Oakland for some fucking reason. I guess that storm washed some more shit down around the curbs. I don't know. And it's like, fuck me fucking running. Really? Oh, well, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know how long they're going to work us for. I have a feeling I probably won't get off till like 1 o'clock Friday afternoon, probably. That's going to be a very exhausting, tiring, running on minimum sleep day because it takes me a little while to adjust to different shifts like that. And that's like, showing up late on Cat Eye. That's about basically what that is. Yeah, that's going to lick balls, pretty much. And you ladies out there watching, you know what I'm talking about. Because, you all like to lick balls. Believe me, if you're not licking balls, you better start. Because your man's going to leave you if you don't. All right, everybody. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and see you on the next one. Hopefully it's not so much full of fucking gibberish.